While we're waiting on Jamie's crew to get on, I just texted them. I have it on my schedule for your team meeting tomorrow. Is that still correct?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So I think my assistant put it in like in the first half. I can't do the first half because I'm in bold tomorrow. So I need to do it while they're doing something else. So my plan is to get them on call time before lunch and then I'll jump on then. So and actually let me make sure that I have the
Cousin George is gonna be here for the team meeting tomorrow anyway, so I don't know what Jamie's plan is for it. And we probably won't until tomorrow.
Okay. Well, I'm telling you so you can let me make sure. Okay, I've got nope. I want to make sure I've got
whenever we have the meeting going so that way you can pop in when.
Yeah, and I have the link. So I guess when I'm in the room, like I really work to not be a diva. Like I can wait except when I'm in the room because I have a super limited amount of time. So when you see that I'm on Zoom, I don't expect you to cut somebody off mid-word and yet as quick as you can get to me, because if I'm waiting for 10 or 15 minutes, then I probably have 2 minutes to talk and we can't be effective then. The other thing that I wish they were on here. Well, it's recorded. I'll send them the recording. The other thing, and for you guys, this is going to be super last minute, and I'm still going to encourage you to do with it what you will. The team meeting truly is our best opportunity to win. And the more we win in the team meeting, the less work you guys have to do to convert stuff, to be honest, right? So like it's easier for everybody. And here's what I've seen work. I know it's last minute, and yet agents are usually pretty flexible. If you could find 2 or 3 people, it doesn't need to be 10. If you could find 2 or 3 people who have been to Bold before and have a good story, and it could be a very short panel. It's just that here's what I find, like you guys as leaders and me as the paid coach sometimes can sound like Charlie Brown's teacher, because we have to say these things. When you get other people to share, it works really well. Now, the way to really make that great is if you have a few people you've thought of, you're like, oh, you can call them, we can ask them. I would get their buy-in to sign up for Bold. Because here's where it gets really weird, as I'm sure you can imagine, or maybe you've seen this happen in a meeting before. This agent is up there and they're like, yeah, it did this, that, and the other, and it was so amazing, best thing ever. Blah. They say all these great things, and then somebody in the meeting is going to say, oh, awesome, so are you taking it again this time? They'll be like, oh no, not this time. It was so great though, and it literally will suck the life out of the room. So if you have somebody who's a Bold believer, even if it's only 1 or 2 people, and you can get them to also commit, in fact, like forget committing, like just get them signed up. If when we do that, we're going to win. And then the one other thing that I would ask for you to see if you could put together, I know it's last minute, I apologize in advance, that it is what it is. If you put together kind of a balloon wall, like went and bought some purple balloons and came up with some giveaway type things you could put in there. It doesn't need to be of great magnitude. I just think that, I don't know, COVID did a number on us, right? And I'm sure that things are better, and yet could you use a little bit more life in your office? Yeah, okay, so that's what I'm finding. I think when we go back to some of these like almost silly and yet fun things, like when we get them in a good mood, they're willing to move forward. So one thing that I will do to help with that is I will commit $400, however you would like to use it, whether it was $400 bills or whether it was a half fold, however you would like to use it. I will commit $400 to go towards these kind of balloons. And the idea is they decide in the room that they're ready to sign up. They put pen to paper, or if you have your computer out, you do it like on the spot. Like they've given you payment information or authorized you to charge if you're willing to do that as a market center. Then they get to pop a balloon and whatever's inside they get. Some cheap things you could do are, gosh, scratch off tickets. Those are always really fun for people. It could be, there could be a couple of, no office fees for the next month, which of course is a good thing right now, because did you all just raise your fees like everybody else? Yeah, so people are all ticked off, even though it's first time in a decade, right? Like you could come up with some fun things that don't need to cost a ton of money. If you have any great, great sponsors that usually step up for stuff, I bet you they got things on hand, like a gift card to whatever restaurant or whatever. if you could take a little bit of time, I know Mondays are wild, and yet if you could put something together for the meeting tomorrow, I really think we'll have a better outcome. Because let me ask you guys, knowing that this is between you and I, like, I'm not gonna go tell KWR they committed to this. Like, this is between us. What's a number of agents you would like to see in that room? What's a number that would excite you, that you think would impact the energy and the dollars in your market center?
The entire market center would excite me, Hudson.
Well, let's do it. Look, you don't have to look. I'm into it. How many agents do you have?
We have 123.
120,
Okay.
Oh, we're losing 3 more today.
120 something. Okay. Oh, sorry. So
Dudes are a good motivator to get out of the business when you're not doing it.
So here's what we've seen. Well, and I shared this, like, when you get them in bold, they're insulated. And I know you guys have had change because you've had a leadership change, and I know it kind of went a little funky, and like I get it. I want to empower you to set as big of a goal as you care to, knowing that it will take work and that it will also pay off and affect your paychecks. Like, I've seen market centers get 50% of their agents in the room. I've seen market centers get 100% of their agents in the room or close to it. Now, normally that was in like fledgling areas, like Key West did it once. It was the first time it ever came down there. They got everybody to go. Like, so I'm not saying like, you want to go for 100%, like I'll backflip out of my room right now. That's amazing. I'm just saying, if that's like, ooh, that sounds exciting, and I don't think it'll happen, you could do a lot more than what you'd naturally think, is what I would say. The reason I say it is I would if there's a large goal for you, I would put as many of these balloons on the wall, and I would have some fun with it tomorrow. Like, I mean, really, like you should be there. Like, I mean, make it fun. Call them out in productive, loving, caring ways. That's how, I remember before I was ever a coach, like, sitting in the meetings as the agent, because I don't really get to sit in them anymore. It's not like I'm on Zoom and then I'm out. I mean, they did push us, and you know what? It was sometimes annoying, and yet we said yes, and then we got great results, and then we were grateful they pushed us. So the meeting that we have tomorrow is an opportunity to really, really, really go for it. Now, your meeting is one of the earlier for these launches, so if you want me to do another meeting at some point, we can. Let's see how tomorrow goes, and yet let's go into it with like a fighting spirit that you guys are going to hit a massive number and create a tidal wave. And because if you come out like with a lot of strength there and get a lot of people, I also think it'll force, because I know Jamie has mentioned that she's willing to help find a venue that would seat more people. And you can create that tomorrow. So I would challenge you to do it. Since she's not here for me to ask, I know she and Kieran were kind of running the show, and so I passed out like 9 registration forms. Did they collect anything?
They collected them. I don't know what was on them. I was not involved, but they were.
Okay, I just wanted to know, because I haven't seen anything yet, so I'll chase them today. I want to make sure we get them registered before people overthink choices. So that's one thing. And then I've got your ALC was there, so we've already done that. Let me get some feedback, because I know as I was walking out of the room, I heard it was okay. Well, what did you? I know she was kind of closing up on that. What feedback do you have from me? Like, are there people who are on the fence that we can work on? Is like, how did that go over on Friday?
I think it went over well. I think it put a question mark in some. There are a couple that could probably be worked on a little bit more. One of them I think is Sherry Castro, the one who got up and told you she's hiring an admin, and
Yeah, the one who literally tracked me down at family reunion to say hello. I was like, oh,
there you
I would have
go.
assumed that meant you were.
That's Sherry. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think she and I don't mind sending you her cell phone number. I
Okay.
think it would be a better conversation, because there goes Richard. I think that it would be I think it would be really good for her, because
Okay.
I think it would ground her a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people like that, like, if you here's where we can work best together. If you have somebody who you think is on the fence, that it's not a real no, they're giving you like smoke and mirrors, if you just send me, and the best is email so it doesn't get buried, because texts get, like, I read them and then I'm in the middle of something. Email, I don't ever, like, I'll leave it unread until I've handled it. Hey, here's so-and-so, give me 1 or 2 lines about what I should know going into it, and I'll get on them. And you can send me as many as possible. All I ask is that you've at least started that. I mean, in this case, it's different because I started the conversation. Like, just don't send me in blind because I won't win. If you already laid a foundation and then I go in, then I have a strong chance of converting them. It's just, I found, like, sometimes leaders will kind of just give me who they think should be there that they haven't talked to, and it just goes over weird, and then they're annoyed with me and they're annoyed with you. It's not a good, it's just not a good combo. Yeah.
Are we giving back in commission, Joshua, this time?
Yeah.
All right. 4 deals, 3 deals?
4 deals, unless they sign up tomorrow, we'll do it in 3 deals.
Oh, so I love that. So I would, and granted, don't, as aggressive as you can get with that. If it's 3, it's fine. If it's 2, it's fine. Like, the more we give them incentives, like we teach our agents to use MOFers, right? Like, why now? The more we can do that, so anything you can do with that is great. And then, like I said, if you're going to use the balloons, which I strongly urge that you would, just let me know how you would like me to reimburse the $400, because I obviously can't physically get it to you tomorrow. Oh, granted, if you want it Zelle or Venmo, I can do that, or I can mail a check or whatever. I just want you to know that the $400 is, I'm good for it, I promise. So we've got the meeting. That's the big focus. After the meeting, and I know I've already mentioned this, and I mentioned it again, and then we'll go into anywhere where I can serve you guys today. It's important, and I really, so let me just ask, because it's between us and, okay, yeah, go ahead. Okay, so it's between just us. Well, and really your staff, right? So do you care call your agents on a regular basis? No judgment.
Yeah.
You do. Okay, you do. So that's how I want you, that's the best use of your efforts during Bold, is to, everyone should hear from you. And I really, here's what I've found that most leaders don't hear. I really don't want you to make it about Bold. At least not like you'll win when you call them. Well,
Bold,
yeah.
Cool. It's not that,
Well,
right?
Get it.
It's a means to an end. So, like,
Right.
The conversation is about their business, and if they're not on their own growing 30% or on track to this year, then why are they choosing to leave that tool on the ground and not pick it up and implement it? That's my, I don't understand why people don't do it. So I just,
and I love that. I don't either. So we're lost together. Here's what, the only thing that I would caution you is that you're so right, and it's not just business. So, like, I've had more than, I've had at least this many people come up to me during Bold and say, Bold saved my marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Because they started communicating differently. They started letting their spouse in on why they were doing what they were doing, and they took better control of their time. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's all sorts. You've got somebody whose health is out of whack, getting in an environment where we're talking about growth habits and stuff like that. So just, the reason I share that is that, you said you'd love to see all your agents in there. I would too. I think it's great. All your agents should, like, if I'm being like level 10 honest, like maybe 10% of your agents shouldn't be there. Like, really, it wouldn't serve them. Like, the rest of them all have everybody has a gap, and where we struggle in Bold launches a lot of the times is that the people driving registrations, because, like, here's the reality, like, the material's great, and I will give you everything in the room, and yet even you saw it on Friday, like, I can't just go wow them. Bold just won't go what, like, it really, you guys get to convince them that it's the right thing to be there. And you do that by finding their gap, because they all have one, and showing them where Bold can help bridge the gap, even when it might be something personal. I've had people in the room before who were going through extreme losses or battling disease, right? And they still chose to be there because because of what it did for their mindset. So I love that you think that way. That's fantastic. Hey, Kieran, how are you?
Hey, sorry about that. I had an agent issue pop up last minute.
No way. Hey, question before I don't want to be like the annoying person. I'm just going to be anyways. Did you guys collect filled out registrations on Friday?
I think we told everyone to turn them in to Jamie. I'll have to ask her if they turned them into her.
They did.
Okay, all right, because I just the said with love, we want to make sure we don't have history repeat itself. And I know that the last launch that didn't work out, when I was in your team meeting, 10 people raised their hand that they were going to sign up and none of them ever did, which was part of the challenge. So I just want to make sure if we've got those, like I know you guys are running in 32 different directions. If you just get them to be, we will get them processed and it doesn't have to, you don't have time for that. She doesn't have time for that. So I will follow up with her as well. So what we were talking about, and I don't want to totally rehash for the rest of them. So I'm going to send out,
I've gotta go.
oh, go ahead. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I've gotta
told
go.
me. You're good.
Love
You're
you guys.
good. Go ahead.
Bye.
We were talking about how to win in the team meeting, and I know I have yours on the schedule, right?
Our team meeting.
Yeah, do I've got 12 market centers right now. Hold on, let me.
Our team meeting would be well, we were supposed to have one.
Maybe I don't.
Jamie canceled that last week, so let me see when the next one's scheduled. Hold on.
Okay.
Looks like our next one would be I'm going to have to ask Jamie if because we had one tomorrow, she canceled. So I don't know if she's pushing that to next week or staying on the every 2 week. So I'm going to ask her
Okay.
about.
Yeah, just let me know because I want to make sure I get on that. And what'll be in the recording that I send out, like if you literally listen to 10 minutes of it, you can be doing something else. I just super simple Heidi version is here's how we win at the meeting. We create excitement. So you create a bold panel, which I know is easy for you guys because I know, I mean, there were some in the room that I was there for, and I know you've had other success stories. You get 2 or 3 people to share for 2 to 3 minutes each why it was amazing and everything. Make sure that the people that you have sharing are also taking bold this time. Because if someone in the room says, "Oh, great, so you're taking it this time," and they're like, "Oh no, not this time," the validity goes away. So make sure that they're signed up. And then the other thing is to put together, like, let's create some excitement, put together like a balloon wall of prizes. And I will give you guys the same that I shared with Greater Manatee. I will contribute $400 to that, however you want to use it, whether it's 850s or 4 100s or a half scholarship, doesn't matter to me. The idea is if they sign up on the spot that day, they get to pop a balloon and get whatever's in it. You could do, no office dues for a month or, no, the monthly dues for a month, scratch off tickets, whatever your vendors want to give away. And yet the idea is that we just create so much momentum in that room because the balloons start popping and somebody else is like, okay, I'll do it too. And we've seen it work at a really high level because the idea is that you guys have a lot less work to do converting if we just get a ton of people in one fell swoop. So that's basically the gist of it. It's just that's really all we have. And then to work through those care calls. And I was glad to hear Joshua share, like, I mean, that's really what it should be. We don't want you calling and talking about bold. We want you to call, see how their business is doing, see how their life is going, find the gap, tie it to bold. If we do that, like Jamie will have to follow through on what she said and get us a venue. Like literally, like if we do that and come at it that way, the challenge is what most leaders will do, and not necessarily you guys. It's just what most leaders are going to do is they're going to be like, "Hey, Bold's coming. Do you want to go?" And they're like, "No." It's we haven't worked them into the reason that they should go. So that's really all that I was concerned with today, is making sure we're set up to have an amazing meeting. We already did ALC, and to get you guys going on those care calls, because obviously that takes time and we've only got so many weeks. I would love to hear, I mean, we've got 2 market centers. I'd love to hear 2 of you share. We've got 2 people in the same role too. And truly be real with me, because the goal right now is I would love to take a few minutes before I let you go and actually serve you in your role. Like, what is your biggest challenge you're facing right now? Knowing that I don't need to share it with anybody else, it's all good. Like, you tell me, and I will do what I can to maybe support you there.
In terms of bold and getting this launch,
If you want it to be about bold, that's fine. And yet that's not specifically that. I mean, I think what I don't always slow down enough to show is that really, like, I'm here to help coach you guys too and mastermind with you. And I've sat in leadership before, not in the MCA role, and yet we obviously, we work in close conjunction. So whatever your biggest challenge is, and maybe it is bold, and that's fine. Whatever it is, I would love to know what it is and see if there's a way that I can be a resource for you.
I mean, we can stick with bold. That's fine. I would say that I haven't. This is the first, obviously with the last launch that wasn't successful, moving into this one. So let's just talk about this as this being that same bold, right? I haven't gotten quite this level of pushback before when we've launched a bold. We've done a lot of bolds over the years, and there's always some pushback. It just feels like a lot more hesitation this time around than I've ever experienced, in the past with the other dozen bolds that I've.
What are they saying? I mean, I know they're probably saying a lot of different things. There's probably a theme though. What are they saying?
It's just not the right time. I'm, not going to do it this time around. I think there's a lot of people that are very nervous about what's happening right in our industry, in our market, in their own business. And of course that you pivot the conversation to, well, wouldn't it be great if we had a program that could help you create some certainty about what's going to happen in your business, right? So you coach them through it. It's just the walls are seem a lot tougher to break down this time around because, like I said, probably been part of a dozen bowls in my role. So I've done this a lot, and it's just really feels like an uphill climb this time around, which that's fine. We're going to keep working through that. But that's been the challenge. It's just getting stonewalled a lot.
So I think what you said is very true. And I want to encourage you. And if you remember the first call we had this time around, I asked you about something you were passionate about. And the last time somebody took a stand, I mean, I did that by design. Like here's the reality. We got a whole bunch of ostriches with their head in the sand right now. I'm seeing it everywhere. And I'm seeing it especially, it's a weird time in Florida because people are freaked out, yet the market's good, yet they don't it's just weird. And if they're not, when they get nervous like this, I'm not like looking to plant fear. I'm like, this is when people broker hop. Because they get, oh, I don't know, this doesn't feel good. Oh, let me go make change somewhere else so I can just I say all that to say that you're right. And you're not the only, this bold is not the only one going through this. There's been a lot of this the last couple launches. This is like literally the most important time for them to be there since bold was written. And I think just reminding them that Gary tells us like when we go tighten our belt and all this stuff, like the one thing we don't erase is coaching and training. Like that's the one thing we wouldn't do. And here's what I would venture to bet. The average agent that doesn't want to spend the $800 and or the time on this growth is going to go invest that money in some online lead platform that's going to bring them nothing. So I just want to encourage you to push. I want to encourage you to use me as a resource. If you have somebody that you can tell is not a hard no and you can't get them there, just like I told the other people on the screen, like send me a quick email like, hey, here's so-and-so, here's their cell phone, 1 or 2 liner about what I should know going into the conversation, and let me be your leverage. Because regret weighs a lot. That's what I'll say. So these people that don't choose to get in here, that's a changed life story that doesn't get written. And I know you all you're all servant-hearted people. You can't serve in the roles that you serve without being servant-hearted. So just, I want to encourage you to stand up to people, and the smoke screens they share with you. Joshua, is same question. What's your biggest challenge? Bold or within your role. It doesn't have to be bold specific.
With bold, I would say like right before Karen hopped on, not understanding the agent brain.
Yeah. Okay.
Here's this wrapped with a bow on top opportunity for you to do this for free if you're willing to show up in one place the same day 6 times, 7 times.
Yeah.
Like that to me just is completely outside of logic to me, and is very difficult for me to understand the gap to then move people through it.
So you as MCAs, so agents are crazy. I'm an agent. I can say it. You don't need to be mad. Agents are crazy. We're like human, like it's puppy and a squirrel had a baby, and that's who we are. And except the puppy was a chihuahua because we're kind of mean. Like the conversation that you've already been talking about having, you've got the logic down. You've got to get them to the emotion. Like when we uncover the gap, when we uncover that despair, like that's how, then you go in with the logic. Like find the emotion, take them to logic, then they will act. So I think you have all the tools that you need. I think the easiest thing to do is to take 5 minutes today. I mean, even on a Monday, you can find 5. Like take 5 minutes and just decide like how many people need to be spoken to a day in order to hit everybody between now and bold, and to just start chipping away. And you don't need to make all the calls, right? Like we're going to split this up with our leadership team and make it doable. And yet you've got to trickle down the message to them that it is, don't just talk about bold. Ask how their business is, ask how their life is, look for clues, then go to bold. And you guys will win.
You ever set this up like an 8x8? Like someone
So you have
someone from ALC who's going, like you said, calls.
Well, so that's a great idea. So the email that went out today, there's an email that went out today that has, it's called Bob. I don't know why it's called Bob. I didn't sign it. And it's basically a resource box. So you have everything you might need in there to put together an 8x8. I think there are 8x8s in there actually, and yet you could kind of pick and choose and customize. And here's where the reason I don't push on Bob as much or any, like, nothing replaces that conversation.
Right.
Yeah. Like it, and if you have the conversations and then bolster them with email and text and phone calls from other people and social media, like as long as all that stuff is like a plus, then it works really well. Where it gets screwy is most of the bolds that I've seen, even when I wasn't the coach, that didn't do super great. It was all, they were relying on email and social media and then it's just, so use it as a supplement, and yet a lot of tools that you might need are going to be in there. There would have been a link in that email that came out this morning, and it should have a lot of what you're looking for. And then I'm with you though, like you have like the ALC member, that's why we need those registrations so we can get them done and know who they are, because there were probably some from both market centers. Those who are all in need to now get loud. They need to go on your Market Center Facebook page and say that they're doing it. Oh, and by the way, my friends here, please don't forget that you have recruit discount codes too. You have 15 between the two of you because it's 10 for the host Market Center and 5 for the other. So it's a huge recruiting opportunity. And the conversion rate is about 80%. It always covers, it's $199 per person for a recruit. So anybody non-KW, and just so you understand, because like you get them registered, and between when you register them and the start of bold, they join the office. Like the registration is still honored. Like nothing goes away. They have to be non-KW when they are registered. So yeah, you've got 15 between the two of you. Like that, there's a massive opportunity there. Plus, that might be something good to share with your ALC. Who do they know that might need the training? Oh, and by the way, if your ALC gets somebody in and they're not taking it, there's way less of a chance they're going to be named as the sponsor when they join. So now it's time for them to register. So leverage that stuff for you guys as well. All right. So, all right, We're a
Why-
minute oh, go ahead.
Like, why is the ALC, right, even in more of those rooms than we have, why is the ALC not interested? Excited?
I'm sure it's somewhat different for everybody. What I've noticed over the years, even before I became a coach, there's some story that's been written and it comes down through a trickle effect that Bold is for new agents, when literally Bold was created for top producing agents. I think because of the day and age that we're in, I think that people who are selling a lot and have a lot of money and have all that pride think they need something shiny and new, when in fact, that's what kills their success. It's doing all the old, dusty, boring stuff that gets you there and having a bulletproof mindset. So I think a lot of it is kind of misplaced. Like they've just, well, I don't need this anymore. And yet some of the people whose growth is most intense in the Bold room are the higher producers. So again, I think it just comes down and you know, you can't change this at this point. When it's in their covenant, it's a lot easier to get them to do it. Because when I asked that question in that meeting, what I would have said if she would have said, oh yeah, it is in the covenant, I would have looked them all dead in their eyes and say, hey, where else are you not sticking to your commitments? And then I would have shut my mouth and waited for somebody to like, because it's the truth, right? Like if they're not stepping up here, then that means they're probably not stepping up in their marriage and with their kids and with their health and with their wealth. Like it's all conjoined. So I think just continuing to create the conversation that real estate, even in itself, is about more than selling real estate. Like there's more to life, there's more to this business. And if everybody is so uncertain, which you could feel that in the room the other day, like it's an uncomfortable time to be in this business. They can't afford not to be there. Like it's literally like, I'm with you. The logic's not there, right? They can't afford not to be there because they can go like build a wall around their mindset, get back into the habits that serve them, and go make a ton of money and smile while doing it because their mindset's not crap. Like it's literally, so here's what I'll end with, because I want to respect your guys' time. Because I mean this, and I'm talking to you as an agent and as somebody who used to recruit agents for a living. They don't want to hear what they want to hear. They do on the surface, just like kids fight accountability and yet they need it. Kids fight structure and yet they need it. For your agents to respect you at a high level and be unrecruitable, I believe they need you to stand up to them and call them out when it's appropriate to call them out. When you know that they're doing or thinking or acting in a way that doesn't serve them, if we're not willing to call them out, the other person that they're in relationship with, who they've been talking to at BFE Real Estate for the last 3 months, if they stand up first and say what they need to hear rather than they want to hear, that's when you lose agents. So I know it's not fun conversations to have, and there's a fine line between standing up for and to them and being a jerk. Like I'm not saying fight with people, and like just because they said no once, it's not a real no. Just because they said they have too much on their plate, well, get a bigger plate. Like how small do you want your life to be? Like they make bigger plates. You can take control of your time. Like, and again, that's why, like, if you can't get them all the way and you get them to me, I'll help you. Like, you tell me that you don't have the time to put into this. Stop it. I got 2 full-time jobs and a giant freaking family, and I travel for a living. Yeah, you do. You create the time. You prioritize things that actually matter. So, have the powerful conversations, and then if you can't get all the way there, get them to me, and I got your back. All right. So
Okay.
I will be on the meeting, Joshua, tomorrow. I will be on that meeting. It'll be sometime in the second half. So just get me rolling as quick as you can. I don't need to be super quick. I can't wait for 10 minutes when I only have 15 or 20 to speak. So, or to be away from the room. So look for me, and then I'll follow up with Jamie and make sure that she's on the same page, and we'll go from there.
Alrighty.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Ed. Have a good day.
Bye.